Brilliance Audio.
Tangled with You by J. Kenner. Performed by Pavi Proczko.
1001 Dark Nights. Once upon a time, in the future. I was a student, fascinated with stories and learning. I studied philosophy, poetry, history, the occult, and the art and science of love and magic. I had a vast library at my father's home and collected thousands of volumes of fantastic tales. I learned all about ancient races and bygone times, about myths and legends, and dreams of all people through the millennium. And the more I read, the stronger my imagination grew, until I discovered that I was able to travel into the stories, to actually become part of them. I wish I could say that I listened to my teacher and respected my gift, as I ought to have. If I had, I would not be telling you this tale now. But I was foolhardy and confused, showing off with bravery. One afternoon, curious about the myth of the Arabian Nights, I travelled back to ancient Persia to see for myself if it was true that every day Shahryar, Persian for king, married a new virgin and then sent yesterday's wife to be beheaded. It was written, and I had read, that by the time he met Scheherazade, the vizier's daughter, he'd killed 1,000 women. Something went wrong with my efforts. I arrived in the midst of the story and somehow exchanged places with Scheherazade, a phenomena that had never occurred before and that still to this day I cannot explain. Now I am trapped in that ancient past. I have taken on Scheherazade's life, and the only way I can protect myself and stay alive is to do what she did to protect herself and stay alive. Every night, the king calls for me and listens as I spin tales. And when the evening ends and dawn breaks, I stop at a point that leaves him breathless and yearning for more. And so the king spares my life for one more day, so that he might hear the rest of my dark tale. As soon as I finish a story, I begin a new one, like the one that you, dear reader, have before you now.
Chapter 1. Girls, what have I told you about running around Uncle Ollie's house? You could step on a nail or knock over a can of paint. Plus, it's not polite to go crazy when you're a guest. The girls stopped on a dime, then aimed angelic faces in his direction. Sorry, Uncle Ollie, Laura said, her big brown eyes on him. She poked her little sister, Anne, a wide-eyed imp, who piped up with, We'll be good. Ollie grinned. You two are always good. Clearly your mom is confused. At 9, Laura immediately burst out laughing, but the more literal 7-year-old frowned, then shook her head. No, Uncle Ollie, we were being little pests. He shot a glance toward their mother, Nikki. She tucked a lock of blonde hair behind her ear, her sea-green eyes dancing as she struggled not to laugh. You, my friend, are a bad influence. Hell yeah, he said with a shrug. Isn't that part of the uncle job description? It's definitely part of being an aunt, Jamie said from across the room. The three of them, Ollie, Jamie, and Nikki, had formed a tight triangle of friendship back in Texas, and those bonds had held strong over the years and the miles. They'd been tested, sure, but there were no two people he loved and trusted more in the world than Jamie and Nikki. Oh, come on, James, Nikki said. Being an aunt has nothing to do with it. You've always been a bad influence. She has a point, Ollie said dryly, then pretended to cower under her glare. Whereas Nikki had a girl-next-door beauty that suggested innocence, Jamie was nothing short of wildly sexy, with a definite hint of badassery, a fact she knew well, and which she'd used to her advantage on more than one occasion before she'd met her match in Ryan Hunter. Now she shrugged, then looked at the kids. What can I say?
Sample complete. Ready to continue?